Hey guys, welcome. Today's class is all about finding your foundation. So, this is a great class if you are new to yoga, but also just a nice class if you want to slow down a little bit, connect back to some of those foundational poses, fine tune any pieces of alignment so it can be used in a lot of different ways. It's going to be great if you have a couple blocks. If you don't, no worries, we can work around that. I'm also sitting up on, this is a nice firm blanket, but a throw pillow from the couch works really well too. Especially if you're new to yoga and don't sit on the ground a lot, which we don't always do as adults, that can be a little different sensation on the hips. So grab blanket or your blocks, and you're just going to take whatever feels like a somewhat comfortable cross-legged seat. You can do shin in front of shin. You can line up heel to ankle, whatever feels like a better place for you. And then if you're sitting on that support, a blanket or a pillow, you want to sit right on the edge of it. And what this does is it just helps to maintain a little bit of length, especially through your low back. Right? Notice that as you sit down, the back probably wants to round a little bit. So you think about the pelvis like a bowl, and instead of tilting all the way back, we wanted to get it to stack. And so just starting to find that place, what feels somewhat comfortable for you. Okay, and then go ahead, either close your eyes or just let your gaze get soft. And then take a moment to feel where your sitting bones are. Do they feel even? Right? As far as what feels connected down to the ground, to that support. Right? Our body's not always in balance, so sometimes there's a tendency to sit way off to one side or the other. A nice place just to start to move around a little bit and find a place that starts to feel a little bit more even side to side or front to back. And you can just let your hands rest to your thighs, wherever feels comfortable. And so here our foundation is our seat, the place that gets us rooted, help to feel connected. So from there, can you sit just a little bit taller? It doesn't have to be a huge amount of effort. I like to imagine it like a string pulling up through the top of your head. Let your shoulders draw back and down away from your ears. So we just start to create a little more length in your spine, and this is going to help create a little bit more room for breath. So go ahead, bring your attention to your breath and just notice where it's at to start with. Right, so you can notice how fast or slow you're breathing, how deep or shallow, and does it feel like just into that upper portion of your lungs or down into your belly? And then without forcing anything, let's see if you can start to let it get a little slower and or a little bit deeper. Right? Yoga is first and foremost that connection, that coordination to our breath. Right? This is our most important foundation. It's what we always come back to. Without it, it's just moving through the poses, which is great for our physical body, but it's that connection to our breath that also really helps to anchor that foundation of our mind, right? So when things start to get a little swirling in our thoughts, we come back to the breath. And then just take a few more breaths like that. Right? Don't worry about it having to be anything specific. Just find a rhythm of breath to you that feels steady, full without feeling forced, and comfortable. And with your next inhale, reach both arms up overhead. As you exhale, twist to your right. So you'll bring your left hand across to your right thigh, right hand behind you. And then just noticing and feel that anchor of your seat, so let it get heavy. Lengthen up a little bit more through your spine. And then just start to twist towards your right. Right? Let it be gentle to start with. Again, no need to force. We're just going to warm up the spine. Take it in all its different directions. And so one of the ways I really like to anchor breath here is to move and lengthen with your inhale, so sit taller, and then let yourself settle into your twist with your exhale. Right, so instead of it becoming this movement that's forced, it goes with your breath. And next, inhale, come back to center, reach both arms up, stay rooted through your seat. And then exhale, twist left, right? So left hand to right thigh. If that's a big stretch, let it come to your leg, wherever it works. Right hand to your left thigh, left hand behind you. And stay rooted back through your seat. Lengthen up through your spine, inhale. And then twist. You can lead with your left shoulder, left ribs. Stay heavy back through your seat and tall through your spine. So it feels like you're creating room for your body to move into the twist. And next, inhale, come back to center, reach both arms up. And then as you exhale, side bend to your right. So right hand down, and then reach your left arm up and over. And you have a lot of control here. You can walk the hand a little further away. You can keep it closer in. Right? Where does it start to feel like an effective lengthening through your left side body? Right? And then here, make sure to stay heavy through your left hip. Right? Keep that root of your foundation. And what sometimes tends to happen here too is the right shoulder wants to dip back. Right? So draw your right shoulder forward until it feels like shoulders are square towards the edge of your mat. And just take a couple full breaths. Right? Not only are we warming up through our body, right, the muscles, the tissue, but as we do that, it starts to create a little bit more room for our breath. Good. Inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale, side bend to your left, right? Keep your hand close in, walk it a little further out. You could even use a block here if you want to stay up a little bit higher. So lots of options to make it work for your body, right? We want to keep it safe and aligned, and then within that, find the variations that work for you. Right? Heavy through your right hip. And then just notice what your left shoulder's doing. Does it want to dip back? Give a little nudge forward until it feels like shoulders are square. We're just moving in that direction. You can reach your top arm up and over and start to feel that space all along the side body. Especially when you open up here in the ribs, it's great for more room for breath. Good. Inhale, come on back up to center. And then exhale, bring your hands down. We're going to come forward to tabletop, so hands and knees. You can set your props off to the side for now. And as you come here, you want to stack your shoulders over your elbows and your hips over your knees. Right? And then spread wide through your fingers, almost like you're palming a basketball, and press down into your fingertips, right? Almost like you're gripping at your mat. And so we start to get this strength from the shoulders all the way down through the hands. And then we're going to move through cat and cow. And so as you inhale, arch your back, look forward. And then as you exhale, round through your back, draw your chin to your chest, and really press down from your shoulders to your hands. Good. Inhale, come forward, arch your back, look forward, right? You don't have to tilt your head all the way up, just look straight forward. And then exhale, curl, right through your back, round, and draw your chin to your chest. Really press your mat away. Inhale, arch your back, look forward. And then exhale, round. And just start to move like that a few times, coordinating the breath and the movement. Right? So that inhale, full length of the inhale to round or to arch through your back and look forward. And then full length of your exhale to round and draw your chin into your chest. Right, we're just getting the spine moving in all its directions as we warm up. Prepare us for the practice. And start to work into some of those foundational poses and how to create stability here, like we're doing with, right, fingers spread wide, gripping through hands. Finish up whatever round you're on. And so you come all the way through that cat pose with your back arched. And then come back to what feels like a neutral spine, right? So you're not rounding, you're not arched. Right? When we're in neutral spine, there's actually a little bit of a natural curve in the low back. And I feel like you could draw your lower belly up and in, just like you're pulling up the zipper on your pants. Really nice for support of the core and the low belly. Walk your hands forward a few inches. Keep that spread of your fingers and really press down with all your fingertips. And then lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Here's a great one to work on foundation. We've got hands and feet going. Right, so your legs might be straight. You might have a little bend depending on flexibility of hamstrings and low back. Find the right place for you. Right, keep pressing down into your hands. You can even press them down and forward. And then stretch your heels towards your mat. They may or may not touch. It doesn't matter. We just send them in that direction to get some length through the back of the body. Take a full breath in, full breath out. And then start to walk your feet forward towards your hands. You can bend knees. And if you get to that stopping point, just walk your hands back to meet your feet. Meet yourself in the middle. Bring your hands to your hips. And then really press down from hips to feet. Use that strength to come all the way up to standing. Good. And if you didn't get all the way to the front of your mat, just take a big step there now. Bring hands to heart. And start with your feet hips width distance apart. I often like to think about this like two fists in between the feet, right? So that they're stable and steady and stacked under your hips. And then just like we did seated, see if you can feel where the weight is on your feet now. We're changing what the foundation is, right? From our seat to our feet. Right? We might tend to stand further forward or further back or lean to one side or the other. So just starting to feel, where can you come back? Where the weight feels even on your feet, both sides, and front to back. Press down then from your hips to your feet so your legs feel strong. Feel that zip up of your low belly. Bring your hands together at your heart. It feels like shoulders are creeping up towards ears. Let them drop down. Take a full breath in and full breath out. Just coming back to that attention to your breath. Inhale, reach both arms up. Keep rooting down into your feet. As you exhale, fold. You're going to hinge at your hips and not at your waist. So think, where is that crease of the hips? Right? You might bend your knees a little bit as you come down. And then go ahead and step your left foot all the way back. And walk your hands to frame your front foot. This is low lunge. This is a great place for blocks if you have it and the mat feels really far away. You can also pop up onto fingertips, right? Or give yourself a little more space here. Let's just check in with foundation here. These are crescent lunge legs. And so that your front knee, your right knee stacked over your ankle, but not coming forward. It might even be a little bit behind or stacked over. And then you're up on the ball of your back foot with your heel stacked over the ball of the foot. You can take your feet a little wider side to side, kind of like you're standing on railroad tracks instead of a tightrope. That's a really nice way to give yourself more stability. And then squeeze your inner legs together. Feel that hugging in. Keep that. Press down into your feet with your inhale. Come all the way up, crescent lunge. Which might feel a little wobbly. That's okay. There's some balance going on here. Keep hugging your legs into center. And then feel here like you could draw your outer right hip back a little bit more. You want to get the hips, right, both facing like headlights towards the front of your mat. Good. Really press down again from hips to feet. Feel that strength. And stay low into the bend of your knee, but reach up through your hands. Take a full breath in. Nice job. Full breath out. Good. One more breath in. And then with your exhale, bring your hands down to your mat. You're going to step back to high plank, which is the top of a push-up position. Right, and you can do knees up here. I love knees down for a little support, especially when we're working on the foundation. Right? Again, spread wide through your fingers. Stack your shoulders over your elbows. Lift through your low belly. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, you can even lead here with bent knees. Point your elbows straight back, lower all the way down to your belly. And then go ahead, untuck your toes so the tops of your feet press down. Right, bring your hands by your lower ribs. Point your elbows straight back. And then with your inhale, lift up through your head, chest, and shoulders. Cobra pose, little back bend here. Right, keep pressing down through the tops of your feet so you feel that strength of your foundation. Lift through your belly and hug your shoulder blades back. Take a breath in. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Tuck your toes under. Come back through tabletop, hands and knees. And then all the way up and back, downward facing dog. Strong hands, root down. Maybe a bend in the knees, maybe legs straight. See what works better. And then root your heels towards the ground. Full breath in. Full breath out. And then walk your feet forward again towards your hands, right? You might come all the way to the front of the mat. You might stop and walk your hands back to meet your feet. Kind of just depends on range of motion. Bring your hands to your hips. Make your legs strong, root down to your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Great, we'll do that on the second side. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, keep your spine long, hinge at your hips as you fold forward. Right, you may bend your knees as you get there to bring your hands down. Step your left foot back, low lunge. Right, big step back. Walk your hands back to frame your left foot. Again, blocks here for a little height can be really nice for support. Right, check to see where your left knee is, that it's stacked right over your ankle or maybe even slightly behind. Right, and then you've taken a big enough step back that you're up on the ball of your back foot. Maybe your left foot comes out just a little wider to the left to create a really stable foundation. Good. Squeeze your legs together, almost like you're scissoring in towards the center. Press down into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up, crescent lunge, up a little balance along the way. Right, and if arms up overhead gets to be a lot for shoulders, you can bring hands to heart or hands to hips, especially if it's nice just to focus on the legs. Right, so keep squeezing your legs in. And often what happens here is the left hip wants to draw forward, right? So think from the crease of your hip, and you bring it back a little bit until it feels like hips are square. Or again, moving in that direction, just kind of guideposts along the way. Good. With strong legs, reach your arms up. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, bring your hands down to your mat. If you've got blocks, put them off to the side. Step back again to that high plank position. Shoulders over wrists. And what we're working towards is hips in line with shoulders. So we're not letting them sag down or lift way up. And if it feels like that is a big ask, because it is, right, bring your knees down and we start to build the foundation there. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows, and you can lead with bent knees or straight legs, come all the way down. And untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down. And with your inhale, lift up your head, chest, shoulders. Right, stay strong through your hands, so press down. Point your elbows straight back. And then press into the tops of your feet to keep your legs strong. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down. Right, come through tabletop, up and back, downward facing dog. Good, strong hands, right? So again, think spread wide through hands. Anchor back through your heels. And then just let your head and your chest soften in between your arms. We'll do the same walk forward, feet to hands. You can bend knees. Right, again, at any point it feels like that's my stopping point, then just walk your hands back. Bring your hands to your hips. Press down from your hips to your feet. So it almost feels like this rebound action to lift yourself all the way up. And if you're not at the front of your mat, just take a big step forward there. Bring hands to heart. Strong legs, long spine. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, hinge, fold forward at your waist. Good. This time, you might take a big step back with your left foot. And we're going to take a little different variation here in the feet. So you're going to turn your back heel down. So now you've got heels in line, right? Or heel to your back arch in line. Press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up, warrior two. Okay, so take a look at feet here. Left toes point straight forward. And your right heel is going to slide back just an inch or two. There's a little angle of the back foot. Again, you want to keep your front knee stacked over your ankle or maybe just a hair back, right? What we don't want is the knee to come forward of the ankle. It just puts a lot of pressure. And a great way to adjust that is just take a longer stance front to back. Okay, arms out wide. Squeeze your heels in towards one another, right? So it's that isometric movement without movement. It feels like you could pull them in, but they're not going anywhere. And then spread out wide through your hands. Turn your palms down and look over your left fingertips while you draw your right ribs and right shoulder back. Good. Warrior two. Strong standing pose. Okay, next, inhale, straighten your front leg. And then with your exhale, hinge at your hips, right? So you're going to reach with your left hand, and then let your left hand come down. So it might come shin, might come ankle. This is another great place for a block right by your shin to give yourself a little bit more height. Okay, keep squeezing your heels together, right? It feels like then everything's kind of coming back into the midline of the body, really strong and integrated. Right, keep that, but then press down from your hips to your feet. Roll your right ribs up towards the ceiling. You're going to reach your right arm straight up over your shoulder. Good. And then come back to your breath, right? So many little adjustments. And then we remember to breathe. Good. Use your strong legs, press down into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, circle your hands down to your mat, and then step back again to that high plank position. Spread wide through your fingers, and then grip your fingertips to the mat. Lift up through your lower belly. Take a breath in. And then with your exhale again, maybe bent knees to lead the way. Point your elbows straight back as you lower all the way down. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down. Repetition is great for building foundation. Inhale, lift up through head, chest, shoulders. Good. Keep the back of your neck long here so it doesn't feel like you're throwing your head back, but instead maybe looking right at the front of your mat. Press down through the tops of your feet. Take a breath in. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Stretch back, downward facing dog. Right through tabletop, or just slide up and back. Good. Really press down from your shoulders to your hands, just like you're pressing the mat away, but at the same time, grip with your fingertips. Good. Heavy through your head, just let it relax in between your arms. Right. From there, walk forward. Feet to hands, come to the front of your mat. You can do a bunch of little steps. You can take one big step forward. Hands to hips. Strong legs. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. If you're not already, just take a big step forward front of your mat. Good. I'm just going to switch sides. So I'm on the right side for you guys to see me. You stay where you are. Inhale, reach both arms up. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, long spine. Bring your hands down. You might bend knees. Step your right foot back. Right, and then you're going to turn your right heel down so that your heels are somewhat in alignment. So this is more of the tightrope action. Right, with your inhale, come all the way up, warrior two. And then just take a look at your legs, your foundation here. Right, you want to get long enough front to back so that your knees not coming forward, but staying stacked over your ankle. Right, turn your left toes in just a little bit. Right, couple inches, right toes point straight forward. Good. With arms out wide. Again, if that gets to be too much on the shoulders at all, you can always bring hands to hips. Squeeze your heels in towards one another. Right, so strong through the inner legs. And then from your hips to your feet, press down. Good. And so you can even start by squaring your shoulders towards the long end of the mat. Right, and then you keep that and just look forward. So the left ribs and left shoulders stay back. Nice. Inhale, straighten your front leg. And then as you exhale, really reach with your right hand first, get long, and then bring your hand down, triangle. Right, and so sometimes you don't have a block or it's not handy. You can do hand to shin or ankle. Your hand can come to the mat. For a lot of us, when that happens, the upper body caves in. So see if you can find enough height that your upper body, your chest feels open. Good. Squeeze heels together. Press down into feet and roll your chest open. Breathe. Especially if we're new to yoga, it's just that thing to keep coming back to. We're working so much with the physical part, what's happening in our body. Find breath as well. Good. Strong legs. Inhale, come all the way up from triangle pose, and then turn both feet to the long end of your mat. Right, so nice wide stance. And then you want to parallel your feet so the outer edges of your feet line up with the front and back of your mat. Okay, press down into your feet, reach both arms up, inhale, and then fold forward, exhale. Right, again, you might bend knees a little bit. If the mat feels really far away, a block or 2 blocks is great. If it feels like your hands can come down to your mat, great, do that. Wherever you're at, see if you can relax a little bit through your head and neck and shoulders. Right? Let the work be in the legs here. Press down into feet. And notice here where all the weight is, just like we did before standing. Sometimes it tends to want to sit all the way back into your heels, like way back. And see if you can balance the weight front to back so there's more of an even weight from your heels to the balls of your feet. For a lot of us, nice big stretch through the back line of the body, through the inner legs. Again, if a little softness in the knees feels good, to ease that, do that. But keep the strength in the legs as you root down. And then with your next inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Walk your hands to the front of your mat. Step back one more time into that high plank position, top of a push-up. Take a full breath in. And then with your exhale, again, lower all the way down to your belly. All right, this time, you're just going to turn over onto your back. Great. Have one of your blocks nearby, just somewhere where you can reach it. And then you're going to bend your knees. Take your feet about hip width apart here. A good gauge of that is if you can think about where your sitting bones are, right at the base of the glutes, and the crease of the glutes in the center, that would line up with your heels. Okay, and then from there, cross your right ankle to left knee like a figure four position. Great for the hips. Right, and you have a few options here. You can stay right here with your left foot down. For a lot of us, that's plenty of stretch in the hip. Or you can bring your left thigh in and interlace your hands behind your hamstrings, right behind the back of your thigh. Wherever you're at, flex your feet. And then just draw your thigh in towards your belly if you have that. All right, sometimes the right knee wants to fall in. See if you could guide, just with the strength of the outer leg, your right knee away from your right shoulder. Let the back of your head and your shoulders rest down. And so there's not a lot of effort. You're not trying to lift up. Stay anchored in back. Right, so back of your head and shoulders, part of foundation. Okay, release. If you've got the leg, bring your left foot back down, unwind, and then just switch sides. Left ankle, right knee. Right, and side to side might feel really different. It often does in our bodies, so choose the best variation here. Right, and you might keep right foot down if like, yep, it's good stretch in the outer hip, I'm good here. Or bring your left leg in, maybe take a hold behind the back of the thigh. You can interlace hands. Right, one of the things I didn't say on the other side that the block is great for is that sometimes we want to bring the leg in, but it feels really far away. A block underneath your head, it brings you a little bit closer to the leg. Right, so that's a variation that's nice to try if it feels like when you try and bring the leg in, it's hard to connect leg and arm. Okay, flex your feet just like you're standing on them, right? So you're drawing your toes up towards your knees. And then see if without even touching, what does it feel like to try and draw your left knee away from your left shoulder? It's asking for a little more strength in the outer hip. Good. Take another full breath in here. And then with your exhale, lower down, unwind your legs. Okay, so feet still hip width apart, and then start to walk your heels in towards your sitting bones. You may be able to reach down and touch the backs of your heels. That might seem far away. You're just going to move it in that direction. Okay, and then start with your hands by your sides, your palms down. Move into bridge pose here, a back bend. So really press through your feet, just like we did when we were standing. You want to get strong there. And then press down through the back of your head. With your inhale, lift your hips up. And they might just lift a few inches, that's fine. They might lift a little higher. Right, so think here about lifting your chest towards your chin, but keep pressing the back of your head down. Good, take a breath in. And then exhale, lower your hips down. Good, full round of breath. We'll do one more like that. And press down into your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up. Whatever height feels right for your back. Right, so chest towards chin. Tone through the low belly. Think about that zipper pulling up. So good to support our back. And then really press down into your heels. Another full breath in. And then exhale, lower your hips down. Good. Keep your knees bent. Take your feet out wider towards the edges of your mat and just let your knees rest together. This is constructive rest pose. Really nice way to give some space to the low back. This can be a great variation sometimes if lying down, your low back isn't great, like if the legs are all the way straight. This is a really nice supportive place for your low back. Okay, from here, bring your knees into your chest. Just take a hold. Give yourself a little rock side to side. It can feel really nice for low back or for hips. And then we're going to take just a few moments in our final resting pose, Shavasana. And so again, you can come back to this variation with knees bent, knees together. You could slide a pillow underneath your knees if that feels good, or just stretch your legs out long. Your hands can rest on your body if that's comfortable, or just let them come out wide by your sides. Let your eyes close or get soft. And just start to notice where the rhythm of your breath is here. If the practice sped it up a little bit, it's fine. Just let it slow down. This final resting pose is really where we integrate all that the practice did, right? Think about making it like muscle memory. And so for some people, it can be tempting to skip this last part, especially if we have things to do in the day. Even if it's just 5 or 10 breaths here, if you can take 5 minutes, that's great. But I encourage you always to give yourself that little bit of rest at the end of the practice, right? So that the practice can really settle into your body, into your breath, right? We create muscle memory for fuller, deeper breath. And just to start to cultivate these few moments of stillness, of quiet. So good for our nervous system. And so give yourself just a few more breaths here. And with your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead, take a full stretch. And as you exhale, draw your knees in towards your chest. You can bring them in one at a time, but bring both knees in. And then roll to your side, kind of like you're curling up in fetal position on your side. And just take a moment to pause here and notice the effect of the practice. Right? How does your body feel? Maybe a little awkward when things are new and different. How does your breath feel? And where are thoughts at? Where's the mind at? And use your hands, press yourself all the way back up. And sit again in whatever feels like a good cross-legged seat. Bring your hands together at your heart. And just take a moment to thank yourself for carving out this time for your practice, whether you are learning something new or coming back to your foundation, that you took time for yourself. Thank you so much for sharing the practice. Right? We end with the word namaste, which simply means, right, the person, the light, the spirit in me honors that in you. Namaste.